As they reach the age of 60, many men silently face difficulties in their married life, which is no longer what it used to be, not daring to share it with anyone. Desire is still present, but the body no longer reacts as it once did. Passion gradually fades, intimate encounters are cut short, and with age, a fear emerges that curbs even the desire to try. We are paralyzed by the look of disappointment in our wives' eyes, the awkward atmosphere, the shame of failure, and the painful feeling that we are no longer the same as before. A recent study conducted in Korea showed that 43% of men over 60 suffer from erectile dysfunction. A worrying statistic that goes beyond numbers. It represents millions of untold stories within every home. I fully understand the shame and the blow to self-esteem that many experience when starting each day with a lifelong partner. We no longer touch each other like we used to, nor do we share hugs while sleeping, not even when the cold sets in. Over time, that distance, which at first is only physical, eventually turns into a deep silence between two people who share the same home but no longer manage to connect emotionally. Hello, I am very happy to be reunited with you here. I am Dr. Park Jong-woo. I have also been a father, and like many other men in Korea, I have gone through this same process. Over the past 50 years, I have accompanied thousands of older men, listening to secrets they don't even dare share with their own wives. The reason I was inspired to make this video is because I am convinced that we should not passively accept the deterioration of our bodily functions simply because of the passage of time. There are simple, natural, accessible, and highly effective alternatives that can reactivate circulation, restore energy, strengthen self-esteem, and restore the joy and fulfillment in our relationships, just like in our younger days. Just a drop. One drop combined with vinegar every night was enough to awaken my body, especially those functions that time had put on hold. If you've ever felt like you're not the same as before, stay with me. The next few minutes could be exactly what you've been needing. This video doesn't offer magic solutions, but it does show you a concrete path to recovering your body, without the need for drugs or expensive invasive treatments. All you need is to understand the process and apply it consistently. If you still have doubts, remember this. It's never too late to start. It's only too late for those who never take the first step. I went through the same thing as you at 75, perhaps even in worse conditions. And today, at 78, I can sincerely say that I am experiencing the happiest moments of my relationship. Now, what really causes our bodies to lose so much strength over the years? Why does that energetic man of yesteryear look in the mirror today and no longer recognize himself? Before we can find a solution, it's essential to understand what's really happening inside our bodies. I invite you to continue with me in the next section, where we'll explore in depth the true causes and some myths that still plague us. Many people think that energy loss is an inevitable consequence of aging. But the truth is, our bodies are like clockworks. If we take good care of their mechanisms, they can continue to function smoothly. One of those key components is blood circulation. When blood flow weakens, it's like having a blocked faucet. No matter how hard you turn it on, the water doesn't flow out with any force. The same thing happens with erectile function in men. It doesn't depend solely on desire. It's essential to have a healthy circulatory system and adequate levels of male hormones that send the right signals at the right time. However, one factor that has made this problem increasingly common is our modern lifestyle. Constant stress, lack of physical activity, a diet heavy on fast food, and a lack of fresh, nutritious products. All of this acts as a kind of silent corrosion that deteriorates men's health day after day. We lead fast-paced lives. We eat in a hurry, get poor rest, and work late hours amidst the hustle and bustle of the city, without noticing that, little by little, our bodies are losing strength. Many men, realizing that something isn't working like it used to, choose to take erectile dysfunction medications in the hope of immediate results. But this is nothing more than a temporary solution. It's like putting gas in a car without checking if the engine is in good condition. It might start, but it'll soon stall halfway. The more you rely on medication, the less your body works on its own. And over time, these drugs become ineffective, leaving an even greater feeling of impotence. Another common mistake I see in many men is that they resign themselves to it. They think it's something they should simply accept as part of the aging process. But let me ask you a question. If you had a headache, would you say it was due to age and do nothing about it? Similarly, physiological problems shouldn't cause shame. They are a natural part of how the body functions, and if addressed correctly, they can be treated and a full recovery can occur. Now that we better understand why our bodies need support and what mistakes keep us stuck in this negative cycle, the next question is, what steps can we take to regain our energy and well-being? The solution lies not in expensive treatments or pharmaceuticals, but in simple, natural alternatives that, if applied properly, can bring about a profound transformation in our health. Let's move on to the next section, where we'll discover fundamental keys to comprehensive recovery for men over 50. Where to start? Among all the methods I've explored over 5 decades, there's one that stands out for its simplicity and impressive results. It has been the first step toward wellness for many men. It only takes a tablespoon of vinegar and a drop of sesame oil to begin reactivating an internal flow that had been stagnant for years. Let me share my personal experience with you. It all started one night several years ago. I, Dr. Park, was 75 years old and beginning to feel the passing of time strongly. I still longed for a fulfilling married life, but my confidence was fading. I was constantly tired, my feet felt cold, and my body, especially my intimate parts, seemed to have shut down. What distressed me most was the look of disappointment in my wife's eyes. Despite being a doctor with a background in Oriental medicine, I felt fragile. I blamed myself for what was happening to me. My pride was hurt, and I couldn't accept this new version of myself. Until, after a long search, I found something that would turn things around. I discovered a method in an ancient Oriental medicine book. I applied it precisely. I dissolved vinegar in a glass of warm water after dinner and added a single drop of oil. And something amazing happened. Within days, I began to wake up with more vitality and a feeling of lightness in my body. After 3 weeks, I knew for sure that this wasn't just a fluke, but a genuine recovery. From that moment on, I dedicated myself to thoroughly researching this combination. It's essential to choose a type of vinegar that contains acetic acid, such as brown rice vinegar or apple cider vinegar. This compound works by softening the walls of blood vessels, similar to how hot water melts grease buildup in pipes. It has the power to remove plaque that has built up over time. Sesame oil, on the other hand, contains a very valuable component, linoleic acid. This acts as a silent ally, helping to break down lipids in the blood and expand blood vessels, thus facilitating smoother and more even circulation throughout the body. Now, the key is how to use it correctly. Just mix a tablespoon of brown rice vinegar in a glass of warm water and add a single drop of pure sesame oil. Exactly 1 drop, without overdoing it or underdoing it. Mix the ingredients well and consume them slowly, about 30 minutes after dinner each night. It's important not to overdo the sesame oil, as adding more than indicated doesn't enhance its effects and can actually have the opposite effect, like adding too much salt to an already perfectly seasoned meal. There are very common mistakes people make: using regular vinegar instead of the appropriate one, replacing sesame oil with oligosaccharides or perilla oil, or simply being inconsistent and skipping for a few days. Many people then believe the method is useless, when in fact what's wrong isn't the formula, but the way it's being carried out. I had the opportunity to guide a 67-year-old patient, Kim Min-soo, who lives in Busan, through implementing this method. At first, he was on the verge of giving up. However, after following him consistently for 10 days, he called me excitedly and said, "Today I woke up with warm feet, a light body, and a renewed mind." 3 weeks later, he confessed that he felt like he'd grown 20 years younger. His wife even joked that he now sings every morning. This change didn't come from a miracle pill, but from the ideal combination of 2 ingredients that you probably already have in your kitchen. And if you still have doubts, remember, even the simplest gestures can bring about profound transformations if done consistently. Once your blood vessels begin to unblock thanks to the combination of vinegar and sesame oil, it's the perfect time to incorporate essential nutrients that help your body regenerate. And if you ask me, what should I eat to strengthen my body, reactivate my hormones, and regain that spark that seemed to be extinguished? The answer lies in very common foods: oysters, shrimp, and nuts. It may seem simple, but its benefits will surprise you. Have you ever stopped to think why, in your youth, your body responded instantly to a caress, a tender look, or an affectionate word? That spark is still there inside you, but your body has begun to respond more slowly, as if it were struggling to get going. The explanation lies in certain nutrients that the body, over time, begins to absorb with greater difficulty, especially zinc and arginine. These aren't simple components. They are essential for stimulating the production of male hormones and facilitating the expansion of blood vessels. Oysters, although small in size, are one of the most potent sources of zinc in existence. In fact, they contain the highest amount of this mineral found naturally. Zinc is essential for the body to produce testosterone, the hormone that boosts energy and desire in men. However, after age 60, the body can absorb between 1 and 3 times less zinc than during youth. In other words, what was once achieved with a single oyster may now require 3 or even 5 to have the same impact. And what is the best way to consume them? Ideally, they should be eaten raw, although this may not be safe during the summer. A good option is to prepare them as oyster sorbet or cook them gently, preventing them from losing their moisture, as this is where the zinc is concentrated. Shrimp is also a very beneficial option, especially when eaten in their shells. Eating them fried and crispy, with the shell included, further enhances their positive properties. And it's not just seafood that offers these benefits. Nuts such as walnuts, almonds, and macadamias also provide a valuable source. Arginine, an amino acid that helps expand blood vessels, promoting circulation and allowing blood to move more efficiently throughout the body. When blood circulation is fluid, all organs, including those essential for sexual life, function more efficiently. A common mistake is consuming these foods irregularly. Many people include them in their diet one day and forget about them completely the next. Or, conversely, they overeat them at one time and then completely abandon them. Others also consume them at inappropriate times. For example, eating nuts after a heavy meal can make it difficult for the body to absorb them properly. So, what's the ideal way to incorporate them into your routine? It's very simple. Eat nuts first thing in the morning on an empty stomach. 5 walnuts, 10 almonds, and 3 macadamia nuts are more than enough. Drink a glass of warm water half an hour beforehand to prepare your digestive system and promote better assimilation. And as for oysters and other seafood, save them for dinner. If you include them regularly every night for at least 3 weeks, you'll begin to notice significant changes in your body. From warmer feet to a more spontaneous and active intimate life, just like in the early years of marriage. Don't underestimate the power of natural resources just because you're inconsistent. A small oyster and a handful of walnuts can become great allies in regaining vitality and confidence, with very little effort. If you're already getting enough zinc and arginine through nutritious foods like seafood, nuts, and especially oysters and shrimp, the next step is to sustain that flow of energy daily. The secret: a balanced and consistent diet. There's a style of diet recognized worldwide for its benefits for longevity, heart health, and male hormonal balance: the Mediterranean diet. The interesting thing is that this diet can be easily adapted to the Korean style, making it easy to follow, tasty, and very effective. The Mediterranean region is home to the highest proportion of people who live well into their 90s. Not only do they live longer, but they do so with enthusiasm, affection, and energy. The key: their way of eating day after day. I want to share a true story with you. When I was 72, I attended a medical conference in Greece. In a small village by the sea, I met a 92-year-old man. He had a vigorous body, and every morning, he swam several laps in the sea before grilling his own fish for lunch. When I asked him what his secret was, he looked at me with a smile and replied, "Every day I eat olive oil, seafood, and a few almonds, just like my grandparents did." It sounded simple, but his words conveyed absolute conviction. The most interesting thing is that this way of eating doesn't differ that much from Korean cuisine. In fact, it can be easily adapted to our ingredients and culinary traditions. If you're not used to the taste of olive oil or find it difficult to obtain, you can easily substitute it with pure perilla oil, a very common product in Korea. This oil has a concentration of omega-3 fatty acids and antioxidants as high as olive oil. In addition, Korea has a wide variety of seafood such as mackerel, tuna, and sardines, all loaded with omega-3, a key nutrient that helps clean arteries, reduce inflammation, and promote good blood circulation. Nuts such as walnuts, almonds, and chestnuts are already a regular part of many older adults' daily snacks, aren't they? To help you visualize it better, I'm sharing an example of what a Korean version of the Mediterranean diet might look like to follow for a week. Breakfast. Start the day with 5 walnuts, 3 macadamia nuts, and 10 almonds. If you prefer, you can add a tablespoon of pure sesame oil. You can also mix it with brown rice for a more complete meal. Lunch. Choose grilled or steamed fish, accompanied by steamed vegetables or a seaweed salad. Adding a small portion of naturally fermented kimchi can significantly improve digestion. For dinner, choose something light, like a mild oyster stew or slow-cooked fish. 30 minutes after eating, drink the brown rice vinegar with a drop of sesame oil, as mentioned above. If you follow this routine for about 3 weeks, you'll begin to notice that your body becomes lighter, your sleep improves significantly, and, most importantly, you'll feel renewed not only physically but also emotionally and mentally. The truth is that wellness isn't far away. It lies in the habits we repeat every day in our diet. Eating well doesn't just mean satisfying hunger. It's about improving circulation, allowing the heart to function harmoniously, and making the mature stage of life shine. Like that golden sunset I once saw on the shores of the Aegean Sea. When we nourish our body properly and promote good blood circulation, the next step is to strengthen the foundations, the base from which all our vital energy is born. And you might be surprised to know that there's a small group of muscles located deep within the body that can't be seen with the naked eye, but that has a huge impact on physiological health, personal confidence, and physical control in men. I'm referring to the pelvic floor. I invite you to discover this little-known power with me. Have you ever heard of the pelvic floor? Perhaps many associate it only with women who have gone through childbirth or with those who practice yoga. But the truth is that, in men, especially after age 50, this muscle group is key to many functions linked to sexual well-being and the proper functioning of the reproductive organs. Think of your body as a building. The pelvic floor represents the foundation that supports and regulates the organs located in the lower abdomen. It surrounds structures such as the bladder and rectum, and plays a key role in controlling erection and ejaculation. When this muscle weakens, symptoms such as involuntary urinary incontinence, a reduction in sexual pleasure, or a lack of control during sexual encounters may appear. I remember a very clear case. Mr. Kim Cheol-soo, 73, a resident of Gwanak-gu. At his first consultation, all he told me was, "I feel like I'm not the same person anymore." Talking to him, I discovered that he used to be very active. He loved walking, cycling, and led a healthy lifestyle. However, in recent years, he had lost strength, become more dependent, and felt particularly insecure in his relationship. After a more detailed evaluation, we discovered that the root cause of the problem lay in his pelvic muscles. The most surprising thing was that we were able to restore full functionality through simple exercises. This is the basic exercise. Sit in a comfortable chair, keeping your back straight. Gently contract your lower abdomen, as if you were trying to stop the flow of urine. Hold this contraction for 10 seconds and then release. Repeat 10 times, pause briefly, and then perform 2 additional sets. At first, this exercise may feel strange or seem like it might not be very helpful, but as the days go by, you'll begin to notice an improvement in your control. A key point: avoid contracting your abdomen, glutes, or holding your breath. This is a common mistake that leads to applying pressure to the wrong areas, which prevents the pelvic floor muscles from working properly. Breathe slowly and regularly. Focus your attention on the anus and the base of the penis, as this is the muscle group you need to strengthen. I always suggest doing this exercise about 2 hours after dinner. By then, the body is calmer and digestion is almost complete, allowing the muscles to regenerate more easily during the night's rest. Although it's not visible to the naked eye, the pelvic region profoundly influences our daily lives, both physically and emotionally. If you feel like you've lost your self-confidence or distanced yourself from your partner due to a lack of trust, this may be the first step to reconnecting with that inner strength you thought was lost. Remember that no exercise offers immediate results. But if you do these movements consistently, dedicating just 10 minutes a day, your body will begin to respond with visible improvements, and your self-confidence will gradually return. Pelvic floor exercises are like building a solid foundation for the house of your well-being. And once that foundation is firm, the next step is to protect the roof, your mind. Because even if your body is in shape, if your mind is saturated with stress and you don't rest well, everything else loses its effect. So, how can you calm your mind, reactivate your hormonal system, and recover that inner energy? The key lies in your breathing and achieving truly restorative rest. There's one aspect that's often overlooked. In many cases, it's not the body that's failing, but the mind that interferes with a healthy sexual response. Stress acts as an invisible enemy. It numbs emotions, drains hormones, and slows down the body's natural reactions. Our body is regulated by two nervous systems that function like a two-mode switch. On the one hand, the sympathetic nervous system, which is activated when we're under pressure or facing a threat. And on the other, the parasympathetic nervous system, responsible for rest, calm, and recovery processes. When you feel anxious, under pressure, or overly focused, the sympathetic nervous system is activated. Blood vessels narrow, and blood is directed toward the areas of the body needed to react to a potential threat. And that, precisely, prevents the body from responding naturally and pleasurably during intimate moments. Tell me one thing. Have you ever seen someone making love in the middle of a fight? It's impossible. For the body to relax, wake up energized, and enjoy itself, the parasympathetic nervous system, also known as rest and recovery mode, must kick in. So, how can you return to that state of calm? The key is breathing, not breathing out of habit, but doing it consciously. What is known as diaphragmatic breathing or deep breathing. It's a very simple practice, but with truly powerful results. All you need to do is lie down in a comfortable position and place your left hand on your chest and your right hand on your abdomen. When breathing, pay attention to your belly rising, not your chest. Inhale deeply through your nose for 4 seconds, hold it for 2 seconds, and then slowly exhale through your mouth for 6 seconds. By repeating this cycle just 10 times, you'll begin to notice a feeling of serenity spreading throughout your body. Blood flow becomes more even and calm, your muscles relax, and, best of all, your mind gradually quiets. I suggest doing this breathing exercise about 30 minutes before bedtime, as it's an effective way to restore overall well-being. Transform your bedroom into a sanctuary for rest. Avoid bright lights, especially those coming from your cell phone, computer, or television after 9 p.m. Blue light acts as an alarm clock for the brain, blocking the production of melatonin, the hormone responsible for deep sleep. It's best to use dim, indirect lighting. Also, try to keep your bedroom temperature between 18 and 20 degrees Celsius, equivalent to 65 to 68 degrees Fahrenheit, as a slightly cool environment promotes deeper, more restful sleep. A common mistake is keeping the bedroom too warm or leaving a light on all night. Some people even fall asleep with their phone in their hand, only turning it off when they open their eyes the next day. These seemingly harmless behaviors are actually the reason many people don't get a restful sleep, toss and turn, and wake up drained of energy, preventing their male hormones from regenerating properly during the night. Take a moment to breathe deeply, turn off the lights ahead of time, keep your room cool, and free your mind for just 7 days. You'll notice that your mornings are no longer dense and heavy, but full of vitality. And the most surprising thing, that spark in your intimate life will return naturally, as if it had never been extinguished. What you really need to regain your strength isn't more pills, but a truly restorative rest. All the strategies I mentioned, whether diet, exercise, or changes in your daily routine, aren't just ideas. They're habits I've applied in my own life, and that have also proven to work for many older men facing similar situations. Now I want to share with you the real-life story of Mr. Lee Young-woo, who managed to overcome frustration and regain his well-being after 6 months of sustained effort. He is currently 67 years old and lives in Haeundae-gu, Busan. When he first contacted me, his voice sounded uncertain. "I'm sorry if I bothered you, doctor, but this is my last chance." He hadn't been physically close to his wife for over 3 years. Their relationship had cooled so much that they didn't even exchange a word during meals. Deep inside, he carried shame, sadness, and a deep fear of becoming invisible. We started with a simple action: a small dose of vinegar mixed with sesame oil every night. At first, he found it difficult to incorporate and was on the verge of giving up, but I encouraged him to continue. A week later, he called me again. "Today I woke up and my legs didn't feel as heavy as usual. For the first time, I felt something was changing in my circulation." In the next phase, I recommended adding seafood like shrimp and oysters to his diet. His dinner was light, based on oatmeal, and in the morning he ate a handful of nuts. His body began to regain warmth from within. Even his wife began to look at him with a smile, noticing his renewed vitality after eating. The third phase involved adapting traditional Chinese food to a more Korean approach. He prepared golden mackerel in sesame oil with a little brown rice and fresh vegetables. After 3 weeks, his wife commented with a laugh, "He's back to singing in the mornings. It's been a long time since we've heard joy in our home." The next step was to incorporate pelvic floor strengthening exercises. At first, I wasn't sure Lee Young-woo was doing them correctly, but just 2 weeks later he called me visibly excited. He no longer felt that constant urge to go to the bathroom and began to reconnect with control of his body. The final step was to focus on improving the quality of his sleep and reducing his daily stress. He began turning off the TV after 9 p.m., incorporated deep breathing exercises, and adjusted his bedroom temperature to maintain a cool environment during the night. 6 months later, the man who used to be dull and exhausted all the time had completely transformed. Today, Lee Young-woo and his wife go out for walks every weekend, enjoy breakfast together, and most importantly, have regained that affectionate bond that needs no words to be felt. He shared a few words with me that have remained etched in my memory. "Doctor, thank you for not letting me give up. Today, not only am I healthier, but I feel truly alive again." If you are experiencing something similar to what Mr. Lee Young-woo went through, don't despair or give up hope. Perhaps the transformation won't happen overnight, but with a simple action, recovery can begin today, right from your own home. What Mr. Lee experienced wasn't simply an individual change. It is the tangible confirmation of an essential principle of Eastern medicine, passed down for generations. When blood flows freely, the body begins to heal. And when energy is unblocked, trapped emotions are also released. That's what I want to convey to you in this final section. A simple but profoundly transformative vision, capable of changing your life as you age. Dear friends, as we reach the end of this journey we share, from nutrition and physical activity to rest and our emotional world, I want to leave you with a simple but powerful reflection. Every form of life in our body depends on the good flow of blood. Only when circulation is adequate can the organs receive the oxygen and nutrients they need. Only when energy moves freely does the body remain agile and vital. And when our emotions remain trapped for too long, they become a burden that clouds the mind and causes us to gradually lose the ability to feel joy, love, and fulfillment. I know that many, upon reaching the age of 60, may feel that it is too late to start over. But I want to emphasize clearly, age should not be seen as an obstacle, but as an invitation to live with greater attention and begin to take more conscious care of ourselves. It is not necessary to transform everything overnight. Every journey begins with small gestures. A glass of warm vinegar, a simple drop of sesame oil, a moment of deep breathing before bed, a few walnuts at the beginning of the day, and a genuine smile for the person next to you. That's all it really takes. Small actions repeated consistently can generate profound transformations in your body, your mind, and your closest relationships. I've witnessed this in many people, and I'm sure it can happen in your life as well. Because on this path to a long and well-being life, what counts is not speed, but perseverance and the commitment to keep going. Taking one more step each day is what will lead you to live fully, with pride, and with true purpose. If this video was helpful to you, don't hesitate to give it a like and share it with those you love. A simple gesture can make a difference and help this information reach those who truly need it. And before you go, remember to subscribe to the channel and activate the bell so you don't miss a thing. I have a lot of useful, relatable, and lovingly thought-out content for those who are over 50. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being on the other side. And if you want to keep learning, I invite you to explore the other videos on the channel. See you soon. Take care and keep going strong. Yellow Heart.